welcome to another really quick crafty video. So I've done a previous one to this, and this is the second one I'm going to be doing. Sorry, that's pumpkin on the windowsill. So I've got this die set, this beautiful one from Jamie Rogers when he was designing for Creative Expressions, but he now owns Creative Expressions, so you'll see Jamie Rogers a lot associated with Creative Expressions. But this is one of his original die sets, well, 115 of them he had designed by this point, but one of his original kind of beautiful die sets, and it's called Lattice Heart Blossoms from his Everlasting Love collection, and it is a set of 5 different dies. So you've got 2 fancy little butterflies that have some gorgeous debossing detail. Then you also have this large, like, floral heart frame that has lots of gorgeous debossing detail into it as well. Just take the packaging off so it's not so glary at you, but really gorgeous debossing detail into all of those really delicate, lovely tiny flowers, larger flowers, berries, foliage, all sorts in there. Then you've got a heart die, and then you also have a trellis pattern that cuts into the heart as well. So I wanted to show you 3 sort of super quick versatile kind of ways that you could use this die, just to give you a little bit of inspiration, whether you want to use that inspiration with this die set in particular, or just another die set that you may have that's similar. You might want to try out some of these ideas with it. So really simple. The first one is kind of using the die set exactly how it's meant to be used, really. So I have die cut out the main frame from a light purple cardstock, then I inked it with a couple of different distress ink colours just to bring out some of that debossed pattern that's in there. And then I also used the Snow White Metallics wax from Jamie Rogers Crafts. If you've not tried his gilding waxes yet, sorry, it doesn't want to focus, but if you've not tried these yet, they're actually like a proper wax that require the heat from your finger to kind of activate them. So they're a lot harder than other polishes or mousses you may have had before, which means that they are much better for this kind of a die, where the die just has that really subtle impression that debosses into it. This is great because you're not getting like big clumps of it on your finger and then going into all of the detail. It's really nice and delicate way to kind of apply that beautiful finish onto your die cut. So if you've not tried it before and you often struggle with this kind of thing, grab a colour and give it a go, because it's really gorgeous to use for your debossing dies in particular. Also works fantastically for when you're embossing stencils and it's not a very high profile and you want to be able to just gently add a bit of sheen to something, but you can also obviously use it with your embossing folders and things as well. But this is just a really simple way of using this die set. So cutting, inking and adding gilding polish to the base layer, and then cutting the solid heart and then cutting the intricate heart and layering them up as well. Again, I've used a little bit of the gilding polish and inking on the trellis one. Just so these were all cut from that same light purple card that you can see in the background of the heart, but just using different colours of ink you can change the tone of the purple slightly just to make them all stand out from each other. And then I've just used a really simple wordy as the middle of that. But another way of using this die set is to create a shaker with it. So because you have the sort of verso-ness of the die, where you have the outside edge and this beautiful delicate pattern separately, you can make a beautiful shaker card where you don't have to worry about trying to get a tiny little bit of foam tape around the edge of this heart. Because you have just the interior die, you can cut that straight into your main panel and create your shaker card behind that. So I've got my gorgeous sequins and micro beads shaking behind there. And then I've cut another one of the hearts, cut the detailed layer into it, and then added it over the top. I was trying to get a little bit of a white drop shadow so that it kind of stood out a little bit more from the pink background that I used on it. It's not quite perfect all over, but you get the idea of it. And it just means that you can create a gorgeous shaker card without having to do that fiddly business of a tiny little bit of foam tape all the way around the edge. So really lovely way of creating a really simple shaker. And then I've also used some of the fall away pieces from the patterned heart just to add some little scattering elements in the background. Plus I've also used 3 of the gorgeous butterflies. You've got 2 different butterflies in this set, and I've just used 3 of them to scatter down the card just to give a really simple look to this gorgeous simple shaker card. And I've done from my heart to yours as the sentiment on this one as well. So really simple and lovely to create. And then the final one, I thought I'd do something a little bit different, just embossing your dies. So I have done videos on this before where it's showing you how you can emboss your dies but not using your rubber mat, because sometimes when you use your rubber mat it gives a really deep impression, or sometimes the card can crack because it's been pushed up too much, or sometimes it can partially cut as well. So another way of embossing your dies without having so much pressure in there is to not use the rubber mat but use 1 or 2 pieces of grey board or cereal box card depending on the pressure that you need, and you can get a more subtle embossed version of your die. So I haven't quite got, you can kind of see the detail, but it's not as the embossing detail on the flowers is not as prominent as it is when you actually die cut the die. It's obviously the cutting edge that is showing more, but it still looks gorgeous having this subtle floral heart wreath all of the way around the edge. And to pick out some of this as well, I also use that Snow White gilding wax on there too. And then for the centre of this card, I cut 5 of the solid hearts. So I cut 2 from a light green, 2 from a minty kind of green, and 2 from a darker green. And then I took the trellis die and embossed it into it the exact same way as I did with the background. And because there's less like debossingness in the trellis design, it's literally just the cutting edges. It shows up really, really nicely on the cardstock. And I have also used some of that beautiful gilding wax to pick out some of the detail. And then all I did was score them all in half down the middle and stick them back to back. So you've got the light green heart, the mid green heart, and then around the other side you've also got a light green heart, a mid green heart, and then the middle is the dark green heart. And then when I decided to put my sentiment on there, I've used one of the Jamie Rogers sentiments that says "I miss you so much." I stacked it up 3 times to make it thick and sturdy, and then I put little bits of glue just on the end of the S, the end of the H, the beginning of the M, and the I there. And then I pressed it into the middle and used little pegs to hold it whilst it dried. So you still have a little bit of this beautiful dimensionalness that I've created with the heart, but you still have the lovely sentiment in the centre as well. Because I wasn't quite sure how to put a sentiment on this card. I was going to leave the heart so it was really like bulbous and open, and you'd almost have like half a 3D heart coming around the card. But then I felt like it needed something on the heart, and I didn't want to just put the sentiment down here. So I decided to do it this way, and it worked out really well actually. And I quite like this sort of dimension that you can create on a card. You can either do it with solid shapes, or previously I've shown it a similar version with butterflies and Christmas trees and things like that as well. But a really lovely way of just adding something a little bit more dimensional on your card. It won't squash flatter than at whatever point you stuck your sentiment on. So that is the flattest it'll go without possibly making the sentiment ping off or ripping something. So it is one of those cards that's going to require hand delivery or making a box to deliver it in as well. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this quick crafty video showing you 3 different ways how to use this die set, which is the Lattice Heart Blossoms die set from the Everlasting Love collection from Jamie Rogers and Creative Expressions. And you don't just have to have this die to create any of these ideas. Go through your stash, see what other dies you have that have similar concepts to them. Maybe it's not even a heart, but it's some other design that has a sort of bigger outside, a smaller shape in the middle, and then something intricate in the centre as well. Just have a look what you have and see if you could recreate some of these beautiful designs. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you again in the next video. Bye!